And we're back in the generally assembled studios with State Representative Sheryl Delozier and her guest today, Ethan Rosenberry, a senior at Shippensburg University, majoring in political science. Representative Delozier, what are we talking about today?
Well, thanks. Glad to be here. And Ethan, so glad to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We are very lucky this summer. We have 3 interns within our district office. And we have very smart young people that have ideas about different issues. And when we got talking about it, we realized that having that discussion would be great, to be researching it, figuring out exactly, what part of it was of interest. And Ethan, I know you were talking about our business community and our different areas and knowing Cumberland County growing so fast and what that impact will have. So I know you did some research on that, so glad to talk about it, and I'll hand it over to you.
Of course, thank you. Just start there with how fast Cumberland County's been growing. It's been one of the fastest growing counties in the state. More people are living here, starting families, creating jobs through their businesses. So my question would be, how have you seen that around the district?
Absolutely. It has been very interesting to talk to many of the business owners in the West Shore, certainly where the 88th district is, but Cumberland County as a whole, as you mentioned. I think we were beat out by Pike recently, but we were the leading fastest growing county in the state. But the ability for us to recognize new individuals coming to our county, and when they come, they need a job. And we have folks certainly working from home, and that also impacts our traffic and our roads and our schools. And so all of that impact is, we've seen that in Cumberland County. But when it comes to our businesses, it has been amazing to see different businesses that are just willing to take that leap. Business entrepreneurs, business owners that have wanted to open a business of so many different types for a long time, and they've decided to do it now, and they've decided to do it in Cumberland County, which is obviously, we're biased, but we think that that's fantastic. So, I've been to business openings recently, everything from exotic axe throwing in Lower Allen, Warhorse, motorcycle. I've never seen so many bikes in my life. Their showroom is phenomenal. We went over and saw that. We've seen folks opening spas of all different types of spas, whether it's massage to reflexology to hair and nails, all different types. And so these are individuals that just their heart was in opening a business. And when you talk to those owners, this is not something that they just thought of yesterday. This is something that they have dreamed of for a long, long time. And the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into them opening up this business is pretty amazing to hear their stories. So I've been enjoying going to some of those openings and being able to talk to them and find out, what drove them, for Cumberland County, but also the type of business that they have, since there's such diversity. Being
out with the business owners, seeing hearing what their reasons for starting their business and their story. I guess my question, building off of that, would be, as their representative, as their legislator, what role do you have down here in Harrisburg when it comes to drafting legislation, advocating for business workers, and the like?
Absolutely. Many times in the legislature, you'll see bills come through that talk about our tax structure, that talk about what it is that a business has to do for their employees, which they should take care of their employees, absolutely. And we need to make sure that we find a balance. And that, I think, is what's important when we're taking a look at legislation that impacts our small businesses. When we have they talk about state mandates, federal mandates. That makes it very difficult for our businesses to operate. When we talk about more regulations, when we talk about that they have to have parking spots that are 12 feet wide rather than the 6 feet wide that they are right now, that cuts down on the amount of spaces that they could possibly have, and therefore their customer base and how many people could come into the store at any one time. simple things that people may think, hey, this is a great idea because of X, but then turning that back around and saying, but how, when the rubber hits the road, is that going to affect our business owners? How is that going to impact their bottom line? And we need to be able to find a way, again, to have that balance, because employers have a responsibility to their employees. Employees have a responsibility to the employers.
Right.
And we as a government need to stay out of that as much as possible and not be sticking our nose in where government may not need to be. And also taking a look at how many regulations we have within our state government, because many times businesses are tied up in, well, the state's making us do this and the state's making us do that. We want them to do their business. We want them to provide a service. We want them to be fair and equitable and treat their employees well. But we as a government many times find ourselves, when you read legislation, trying to stick their nose in, oh, well, they've also got to wear a white T-shirt and they've got to make sure that all the doors, go to the left, or, I'm making that up, obviously. But all I'm meaning is that, sometimes the best thought process for a bill, when you actually ask the business owner how that's going to impact them, unintended consequences happen. And so as a legislator, I think that having those conversations with our business owners is what's integral to understanding their day-to-day lives, integral to understanding how they want to serve their community and provide wedding cakes, provide, escalator services, provide, axe throwing, or provide, motorcycles out there for those that choose to own one. That is something that, having that conversation with the business owners, I always learn something. I always learn what it is that is important to them, and again, their passion as to why they want to provide the services that they do. And many times when you talk to a small business and they talk about their employees are like family to them. Their employees are ones that they want to work to help and make sure that they provide a good business environment, a good work environment. So as a legislator, you have to kind of balance a little bit of all of that when you're taking a look at a bill that might be coming up.
But it seems like from your perspective, it's a lot of building relationships with the business owners, with local chambers. To just tie that into one of my other questions. So this year you recently held, for the first time, your job fair.
Oh, yes.
Involving some of the local school districts and the chambers of commerce. Could you speak a little bit of what went into setting that up and how things turned out there?
Absolutely. That was a brand new idea, working with our district office and Andrew that's in my office, that we went back and forth and actually, tried not to reinvent the wheel. A number of other members had job fairs, and Cumberland County has a huge job fair, and we're a part of that. And we share a booth with other government folks from our area to give state information. But many times, I was working a lot, and a lot of my background and the bills that I've worked on with criminal justice reform is basically also working to get people employed, to get people into jobs. And we've seen over the last couple years how many employers are looking for good employees. And so making that connection, the state has CareerLink, and that is very important, as a service. But we also need to take a look at our local businesses and what they're looking for. So we held the job fair, and I think it went great. And we had a lot of seniors coming over from some of the local high schools. We had Cedar Cliff there. And hopefully we'll grow that, for folks that, not everybody's future is a college degree. There are so many other jobs out there that are necessary and important, whether it's going into the trades, whether it's working in an office, whether it is whatever, going to possibly community college. There's so many, you get an associate's degree and then you go right into the workforce. So there are employers looking for good employees. And that was our objective. Our objective was to connect the two, but also to educate on government services. So it was a job fair and government services. So we had numerous employers looking for employees, but we also had a number of our state agencies there to educate not only that they are looking for good employees too, because the state's always looking for good employees, but also what it is that the services that they provide. So many times we had our veteran services there, talking about, where it is that DMVA could possibly help veterans get employed. If they've been in the military for years and years and they've served their country proudly, and now they're coming back to Cumberland County, how is it that we can get them into the workforce? How can they use their skills that they have been trained by the military and put them into civilian life? So that dialogue happened with a number of vets that were there and looking for assistance. And our Cumberland County Veteran Services was there to say, hey, if you need access to your services and the benefits that they have earned. So we had a little bit of everything going through, everything from, our human services that are in Cumberland County, and we're always looking for good people to take care of the vulnerable population that we have, both our seniors as well as possibly IDD, and working in that venue. So we had a diverse group that was there, and it really worked out well, and I'm looking forward to being able to do that again. And then we also had information on Clean Slate and some of the employees or individuals that came in, checking to see if they were eligible to have their record clean slated. And we had 2 folks that came in that didn't know anything about Clean Slate and how it could help them get a job. So we were able to work with them and get them checked out, and if they were eligible, and it was something that they were really fascinated by. So I think so those 2 I think will be eligible for Clean Slate and be able to possibly find a job in the future. So
that's great to hear. Glad it was a success.
Yes.
So just to pivot back to the legislative side of things, there's a couple House bills that are sitting that were introduced this session that I wanted to run by you, see what your thoughts were on. So just to start, House Bill 225, currently in House Commerce as of March 2023. It would give the Pennsylvania Industrial Development Authority, known as PETA, clear directions on evaluating the various economic development corporations within the state, possibly removing certification if they don't meet that criteria. If this bill were to pass as is, how do you think it would impact the business landscape of Cumberland County?
Well, I think that anytime PETA works to make sure to clarify what it is their role is, I think that sounds like, and again, when the bill's language comes out, it changes and can change dramatically by the time it gets to the floor for any kind of vote. And many times the committees have hearings on that to better understand that impact. And the bill is modified then after that to accommodate some of the suggestions that come out in a committee hearing. So I was a chair of the Commerce Committee for a while, a couple years ago, and that committee does really great work when they ferret out some of the needs. PETA is an entity within the state that, again, deals with grants and deals with oversight of dollars from and helping small businesses. So I think anytime that we can clarify for the small business what PETA's role is and give them some tools to be able to help our small business community, I think that's a good thing.
Next bill, House Bill 2256, was sent to House State Government Committee in May of this year. So the most recent out of the 3. It would clarify language involving concerning veteran-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, when it comes to what constitutes a small business in current law, so that the Department of General Services could better categorize them when it comes to things like loans, opportunities, things of that nature. So considering how the business landscape in Cumberland County, how do you think that bill as presented would impact it?
Well, I think anytime we can help a veteran-owned business, I think that that's a strength. And I'd be interested in seeing what the committee does with the bill and any modifications that happen. But I think there's been some really good legislation in the past dealing with veteran-owned businesses. So the ability for us as a state to help that push for veterans to start their own business. Like I said, anytime a entrepreneur wants to start a business, we need to get out of the way. We need to be able to say that we encourage you to have your dreams happen and to give it that shot of having a small business, because our small businesses run our communities and run our state and run our economy. So we, if it's a veteran-owned business, it just adds that extra leadership criteria, I think, that our veterans have. So I'll be really interested to see where that bill goes.
Okay. So in a similar vein to that, the last bill I have down here is Senate Bill 248. Also deals with veterans, but instead of clarifying the language, it would guarantee certain loans to accreditors that are applying for their, like, to start up a business, maintain their business, things of that nature. So I understand from your perspective that you want government, like, to step out of the way, as it were, when it comes to people starting up their business. So what would your thoughts be on a program like this?
Well, anytime that we talk about low interest loans and or the ability to have a tax credit on your state taxes, we talk about those types of programs, and they've been very successful because many times when you're dealing with a low interest loan or a tax credit, you're dealing with requirements that business has to comply with in order to maintain that tax credit or to maintain that low interest loan. So I think that it's a give and take. I think it's government basically saying, we're going to give you this shot, but you have to comply in these ways. Many times with a business of any kind, if it's on the grander scale, it's about employment. It's about you need to employ X amount of Pennsylvanians. You need to create X amount of jobs, and have that as the threshold in which a company might get that tax credit or get that low interest loan. So I'll be interested in the bill as to what their criteria is, but I do believe that having that give and take is important because businesses, capital investment is huge when it comes to starting a business. And right, so if we can give them that tool to start a business and they're successful, we reap the rewards as a state. We reap the rewards as the fact that they'll employ individuals. We reap the rewards in the sense that people receive that service, whatever their business is. So I think it is definitely, you have to look at it as a give and take. And the fact that government is giving them the opportunity, but they have to make something of it and they have to comply with the standards in which, the parameters in which they're getting either that tax credit or a low interest loan. So I do believe that they are positive. I think we need to be careful that we're not giving away the store, when we're talking about it. But I think in moderation as to the fact that giving that opportunity for a entrepreneur to get out there and do what they need to do and be successful at it, I think the state in the end would reap the benefits that would far outweigh the cost.
Yeah. Do you believe this would also help out your district as well?
Absolutely. The 88th district is a suburban district. It is a district right outside of Harrisburg, and the growth that we have had we certainly need to have our those folks that are coming here and moving here. They need jobs, and we need a good, strong economy for our county government as well as our state government. I mean, one of the largest employers is state government in our district, and we have a thriving, economy going with our healthcare in our district and everything. We just recently had Penn State opened a new cancer center there to start building a new cancer center. Our healthcare industry has grown by leaps and bounds here in central Pennsylvania, with many different types of healthcare systems coming here. So we are lucky in that regard. Obviously, they see something in central Pennsylvania and Cumberland County, and they want to make use of that for their business project, their business plan, and we want them to come because having good health services in our neck of the woods is always a draw for good people to come to our area.
But yeah, Representative Delozier, thank you for this opportunity. Really appreciate it to learn more about the business in your district as well as some of the labor as well. But
Well,
yeah,
thank you. I appreciate the research that you did, and we're lucky in Cumberland County. We have a great place to live and a great place to eat as we are talking, and we're proud to live here. So thank you.